Good afternoon, delegates. Welcome to another exciting session at the India Affiliate Summit 2021, co-presented by IMI and V Commission, powered by Optimized Media, brought to you by Zapads, and in association with Trachea. Today's panel discussion is on the topic of role of messaging in affiliate marketing. The conversation will be moderated by Mr. Girish Chaturvedi, Chief Business Officer, Netcore. The speakers for this panel discussion are Ms. Meghna Chettri, Senior Associate Vice President, UTI Mutual Fund; Satya Kiran, Chief Executive Officer, Whistle; and Saurabh Jain, Managing Director and CEO, Navi Mutual Fund. I would hand it over to Girish to take the conversation forward, and I hope you guys have an exciting engagement today. Thank you.
Thanks, so. Thanks for basically handing me over the panel. I'm very excited to have such an eminent, co-panelist. I think what we bring on table today is a very diverse experience. Saurabh has experience from fintech to e-commerce. Meghna in working with the largest, banking sector, and Satya comes from these servicing background. So obviously, the service provider aspect. So we'll have a multi-dimension, aspects on the front today. Just to basically set the context, messaging channels has been in legacy for a very long time. I think they've been relevant for years. Even today, when you really look at the largest app, I think SMS being the largest app today, followed with email. So with that context, I would basically like to check with Meghna that Meghna, she's basically worked with SBI. And obviously, when you are basically representing SBI, the entire country is basically the market that you look at. So the entire tier, right from the top tier to the mid tier to the bottom tier. With that aspect, how have you leveraged, messaging channels in the past?
Okay. Thank you, Girish, for the question. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I have a bad throat. Please bear with my voice. But I think messaging is the key to every activity that you do. From your day-to-day connect to your consumer onboarding, everything depends on how you are sending out those messages, sending out your signals, right? And that's the same thing that applies to affiliate marketing also. So when you are working with different affiliates, identifying and panning out different channels of affiliate marketing, how are you sequencing your messages? How are you really realizing what kind of message is working on what kind of channel? You can't take the same message and copy paste it all across and expect it to work. The effort needs to be taken to customize it on how you're sending it across on SMS versus how you're sending it across on email. If it's a repeat cohort that you're sending the same message with same affiliate over a month or so, how are you sequencing those messages also matters, because it's same as saying, if somebody says hi, good morning, and the customer comes and doesn't react, how do you go about that and greet the customer in a separate or a different manner, right? If you're sending a email with a certain headline and a certain body, and customers are not even opening or clicking on it, how do you go about customizing those headlines and making it more action oriented, making it more relatable to what you want the customers to do? Make it more helpful, assistive. Tell the customers what you want out of it, and maybe it will work, right? Instead of just doing a spray and pray of same message everywhere. So that's how I look at it, Girish. So
I think it's very important. See, the channels are just the tool. How do you leverage the tool? I think that's where the trick is, and then that's where the experience comes.
okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sort of, you played a very important role. Taking Swiggy from start to 500 cities in just no time, less than 2 years. I think that's been incredible. How have you leveraged messaging channel? And what role did messaging channel play in spreading your outreach of Swiggy to multiple cities, especially the tier 2, tier 3 markets?
Yeah. So actually, for me, as a customer, the journey is pretty interesting and opposite. As a customer, like 4 or 5 years back, I used to get so much irritated by so many SMSs coming, right? And of no relevance. Like, why would I get SMS related to car services when I don't have a car, right? And so that was a problem, and I always thought that, hey, this is not gonna like really improve, right, over time. But now with the kind of smartphones that we have, with the kind of partners that who are getting into this SMS business, the kind of technology which is really getting into this, I think we are seeing the databases of customers is getting richer, and the kind of variables available for individual customers are better, right? So today I am more inclined towards doing SMS marketing than some other marketing, majorly because it's very easy. Like now there are partners that we are working with who are able to filter out the customer base for us, and you are able to target by pin codes, you're able to target by profession, you're able to target by like whatever is your need, right? So you're able to do that, you're able to track what's happening beyond that SMS as well. And obviously the cost is significantly lower than what it is for some other media as well. So yeah, I think we have been leveraging SMS a lot. Um, and the important use case right now is to ask people to download the app, and like I think download the app, then do the transactions, in like educate investors, educate customers using SMSs. And I think over time, what we have now in the last couple of years for Navi is we have a database which we know that is really keen on certain kind of products that we have, right? So now the messaging is very like you cut through the noise, and then you have these real customer base that you are targeting. So yeah, so this is it's a journey, and I think whenever you start, it'll take you 6 months, 1 year to get to that journey. But I think the sooner you start, the better it is. That's what I feel.
Sure. I think Saurabh brought up a very important point, and this is basically, what Meghna also touched upon, that unless until the message are relevant to you, they're spam. So, how do you as a marketer make sure that there is relevancy and personalization being built into the messaging? I want to take this question to Satya now. Satya, you've been on the other side. I think you've been basically, making a case for messaging to a lot of marketer. What are the attributes that you think are relevant for a marketer to know so that they basically put their monies on messaging channels?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Girish. Hi, thanks, Saurabh and Meghna. So, if you say SMS is the unsung hero even today, if I go back 16 years when I was working in Value Leaf, when I signed up Mintra, you take any of these brands, which are unicorns now, billion-dollar companies, the very first baby steps were taken through SMS, right? There's no brand which I haven't seen in India which didn't use SMS. You can take Flipkart, you can take Mintra, you take any one of this. All these brands, first step was SMS. Now we talk about social, native, etc., affiliate marketing, but 12 years ago, there was not there. The very first touch point for most of the consumers or the prospect was SMS, right? But now it has become very critical because SMS was getting more of spam. Any brand marketer was not getting insights in what kind of audience he is talking to. So when I say this, I'm talking about third-party database, not the brand's in-house database, right? When you do approach affiliate or you do a campaign on third-party database, you don't have insights. Why are you sending it to these people? Why are you sending so many lakhs of customers? A lot of profiling was missing earlier. Now, the same case what Saurabh told. Saurabh gets irritated by looking a lot of promotional estimates. If UTM Mutual Fund knows that Saurabh is no more interested in looking into promotional estimates, why do you send estimates to Saurabh? Right? If you can identify a core database which are active in SMS minus the people who are not active in SMS, we say more than 70% of the cost. And the evolution now, what we see is more of profiling. Earlier, if you talk about SMS in terms of filters, you hardly have anything. We just have HNI, we say frequent flyers. We know it's a myth. How do you get frequent flyers data? We know it cannot be validated. Now the technology is helping us to validate this data. Right? When I say somebody is clicking from Bangalore, I know it's from Bangalore. So these kind of filters and the technology and the artificial intelligence is helping us a lot in marketers to bring it. Simple. Rather than now sending 10 lakh SMS, how can you send only 1 lakh SMS and still get the same kind of leads? That's the goal we are trying to approach now.
Great. I think Satya is going to be doing a great job. If you could help marketer reduce the number of messaging to be sent, and get them the same ROI. I think it's fabulous. It helps the marketer reduce cost and
Yeah.
ecosystem. As a consumer, I get to see less messaging. Uh, so I think one thing very interesting that came out from you, Satya, is that today messaging may not be just used as a tool, but can be used as a media because you can augment it with audiences. Okay, you can have segmentations, you can create cohorts. I think which perhaps was not as accurate and as insightful till about a while back. So that's something that is happening. Uh, However, what we also see, and I want to take your view on this, is with this DLT coming into play. Uh, it's added a lot of complication in the messaging space. Today, one would say that messaging seems to be very challenging. Obviously from a consumer point of view, it's good that there is a maker checker, there's a control to basically reduce spam, but as a marketer it becomes very very challenging. So how do you help marketers come out of this? How do you help marketer to basically come out of this DLT fiasco, the pain that one has to go through?
So for this, I'll give you a small example. A couple of years ago, when Gmail introduced this promotional and primary tab, right? The open rate of email has come down drastically. It has come down drastically down. But if you have observed, Girish, I think you were very close to the industry, the click to conversion rate went high a lot. Because as a consumer, I am very, very conscious that I'm opening a promotional email tab and engaging with it. When I consciously going then engaging with the promotional email, the conversion rate increased. The open rate has come down, but the conversion rate has increased. Same way, DLT is helping us to clear some mess which has been accumulated over the industry in the last 10 years in India. Right? It is streamlining. Yes, there are operational hazards, but it is bringing a lot of things into place. What happens with this? You might have consumers opting out from this. You have less brands coming on. Close to 30-40% of the spam messages can be reduced now. If you don't have a proper identity and if you don't have a reason why you're sending SMS to somebody, that could be prevented. So the respect what SMS lost a couple of years ago because spamming can now be gotten back to it. This will only help. Your open rates and the number of volume might reduce, but your end object you have conversions will further improve because of this. This is my point.
Sure. I think it's a fair point. I want to take this question to Meghna. Uh, the same thing, but I want to tweak this question a little bit. Uh, yeah. So while DLT is one aspect of the challenge, the other aspect of the challenge is there is little that has evolved in the messaging. It's still textual. SMSs. You see just too many of SMSs. Uh, with that, we have seen a lot of advertising dollar being moving to search, rich media, display. So what's your view on this? Is that one of the reasons why you see so much of a shift in advertising dollar going to other mediums?
Okay, so Girish, if I talk about advertising dollars, I think globally and even for India, the shift on digital is growing, right? So which means more dollars of advertising for all channels. So that's one reason why we'll see that there's a growth in the spends that's happening on search. There's more growth on social media, and thereby the ripple effect of it also could be that affiliate marketing is also growing. And like Satya said, with valid checks put in place, and like Saurabh was saying, database evolving and getting enriched, more and more right information and more targeted niche audiences are getting the delivered messages with the right intent. But also, yes, the simple text SMS doesn't work now. SMS, almost all SMS that comes with a hyperlink. There is of course the availability of sending rich media based SMSs, which will be helpful because people now are used to having DMs which are animated, DMs which are infographical, DMs with information cards, right? On Twitter, on Facebook Messenger, on WhatsApp, on Instagram. WhatsApp being the largest personal chat app that exists across the globe. I think people are more used to having animated, informational, infographical representation of the data they want to consume, and SMS as a channel is also moving towards that. So yeah, with the advent of all these, the adoption of SMS is becoming more relevant. People are more responsive because it's not just another SMS which is asking them to click on a link, or or send a SMS short code, it's also giving them some information about what are they going to get out of doing this, right? Is it from a genuine brand? Is it from a fraudster who's trying to scam money out of them, right? And we have to be very conscious as brands and especially financial brands that fraudsters are one step ahead of us in scamming people. So we have to be very, very conscious in educating the customers in right direction, irrespective of whatever channels we are using. Because the same short code that we may be using, the fraudsters might tweak it a little and might be able to do a bigger scam with the innocent audiences. So yeah, rich media SMS is helping evolve audiences in the right direction with the right information, giving them the right brand trademarked content, branded and trademarked content. Email is another way wherein you can run HTMLized, sequentialized emails instead of sending a plain text based email or a generic email, generic HTML version of one email. You could make it sequential. You could have counters and countdowns running in the back, and you could have a template which is auto upgrading the email based on when and how the customers are opening the email. For example, if I talk about mutual fund industry, the nav of any particular product could be changing day on day. So you could possibly link your email template with the backend of your product nav, and which is already a public information because it's on your website. And on whichever day customer decides to open your information, the customer has the data for that particular day and not of the day that he received the email or she received the email 10 days back, because in 10 days the nav could have moved up, could have moved down, right? So yeah, it's really about using information to educate customers, because digital is new to a lot of Indian population. So the building trust will take some time, and getting acquainted and moving in full speed with digital will also take some time.
Sure.
That's
Okay. I think quite a valid point, and I want to touch this topic again. I think because you brought up some two important point that you're saying that SMS is now moving to rich media, and emails are shifting to interactive emails. So I think that's an important point. But before we get to that, I want to basically quickly take from Saurabh. Saurabh, you mentioned something very interesting. You said as a consumer. So you said while as a marketer, I have been leveraging messaging for a long time, but as a consumer, when I see hundreds of messaging coming, it switches me off. So if you would have to basically look at something that will bring back the excitement in the messaging, what would that be? And very certainly I want to basically touch on the challenge that you see in the SMS industry, so to say, and perhaps a part of SMS can also then lead to email industry.
Yeah. So I think it's very difficult today to differentiate myself from a marketer versus a consumer. So I'll give you both the perspective. Right? I think let me just talk briefly about as a customer. I still believe even with the current state of SMSs that exist, right, there is a lot of scope of improvement if you really think customer backwards, right? Like I get a lot of SMS which starts with hi, right? I get a lot of SMS which start with user, right? There is, I think, limited customization that is happening on the SMS side. So I think customization is one way of working on it, right? Second is the time of delivery. I'm like, I think there is some relevance if you look at the data, right? When are people maximum opening it? Which kind of people open? Like if you are targeting really professional people, then like 12 to 2 is a real time, right? And I think with social media, we have seen this, like a lot of people, a lot of organizations are posting their post between 12 to 2, 6 to 8, right? So that kind of, what do you say? Understanding is really required. So I believe even if you take the current state of affairs, I think there is a lot of scope in doing that, and you will still see that I think Satya will have better numbers, but certain type of SMSs, certain type of communication, certain type of timing will show a significantly higher CTRs or open rate versus others, right? So that's on the customer side. I see. Second, as a marketer, I see, like, first is we as a marketer really have to trust into SMS marketing, right? And why have we started trusting more into the Google and the Facebook is also the interfaces that are available. Now if you have to start doing Navi mutual fund marketing, right, I'll open an account on Google, I'll go put down some data and start giving them inputs in terms of I want to target this geography, this area, these kind of professionals and all of that. And they'll quickly give me a cohort. I have to put the budget and start the campaign. It's so easy right now. Versus I know a couple of years back, it was like, who is the mobile affiliate? Let me sign a contract with that person. And like it's so that's very complicated. And I think today a lot of affiliates, including Whistle that we use, have come up with an interface which is very easy to use, right? Where you identify this is my cohort, this is my communication. There are like, I don't know if there are recommendations available, but I think there is a lot of scope in terms of ease of using this because I think what you really need to improve SMS marketing is more data points. How will you get more data points? You will get more data points when more and more people start using it. How will more and more people will start using it? When the interface or the ease of doing SMS marketing is high. So I believe this is all connected. So if you really see SMS marketing in today's affair, I think whatever technological limitations that we have in terms of rich media and all of that not being there right now or not being like used, adopted so much, I think we still have a lot of scope.
I think, Saurabh, you are a great point. And I think what I take back from this point is that, nobody's owning up this ecosystem. Okay, so when you talk about messaging
Yeah.
ecosystem, I mean, when you talk about, search, you know that Google is working day in, day out to make the search experience better. Okay, when you talk about, social, there's Facebook who's basically, trying to make that, experience better by the day. But when it comes to messaging, nobody comes to the mind. It's likewise, when it comes to e-commerce, you have Amazon. So each of this industry has someone who's basically taking the lead and actually building this ecosystem. But when you look at messaging, okay, whether it's the ESPs or whether it's the telemarketer, whether it's the telecom operator, nobody's basically taking the lead to basically mature this ecosystem. Uh, I think as simple as giving you an interface where you could just come, create the cohorts and do messaging is the most basic ask that one marketer would look for. So, Satya, what's your view? I mean, this has been a really big mess in the ecosystem, and since you've been on the other side of the ecosystem, partially representing the ecosystem, what do you think? Is there directionally something that's happening here? Do you see somebody owning this up and being the Google of messaging? Or
No, I really wish that I could become godfather of messaging.
yeah,
So let me address this simple way. See, what this industry was missing till now. Why do you go to Facebook? Because there is audience inbuilt already. You know, Facebook has already curated audience and kept for you. In Bangalore, between 20 to 28 years of male, you have say 5 lakh audience size reachable. You go to LinkedIn, LinkedIn will tell you Bangalore CXOs, right? You have so 500 is reach, 5,000 reach. In SMS, there is no authority where you can go and ask for something. SMS always uploading your numbers and doing a campaign. It was never available. For example, Girish, assume you start your affiliate today and you want to do SMS marketing. Where do you get these numbers from? You don't have any genuine source to buy numbers, and data is illegal to buy anywhere, right? You don't know whereabouts of the data, what is data, is there any analysis, is there validation? So that is the point we are trying to correct it. To by giving India's only
I think we
have
lost.
used SMS marketing. But when it comes to affiliate, there are certain affiliates for whom SMS is the only source, but for them it was on and off. But it has reduced a lot because of access to the right data. They don't have it. Girish starts to do an affiliate, he doesn't have access to data. How do we do SMS campaign? That is a gap we are trying to bridge here. So I'm not saying I'll get the complete authority, but since this practical gaps, what we've seen over the last 10 years, we're trying to solve it now.
sure. Yeah. So, Megha, I just want to take this back to you. You think there's a need for a Google for SMS or a Amazon for
I
email?
think I think there is a need for education and awareness, and as a network, right? As a segment of the ecosystem which is affiliate or which is termed affiliate, I think that whole segment needs to come together and educate and create these awareness, because taking from what Satya was saying, right, we are all aware that these data are not openly available. So everybody at a starting point has these doubts that are they even valid sources who we are sending these SMS to. and therefore the checkpoints have moved from sending SMSs to paying only when there is a click, or paying only when there is a certain open rate that is matched. So but there's still that hesitance of how are you sourcing this database? Are this actually my niche audiences? And I have been in a situation where I have asked my agency, saying who the email partner that we are working with, what kind of audiences are they broadcasting the email to? And the response was, it doesn't matter which audiences, because we are paying on leads. I said, it matters because that lead is not getting me business. I need business at the end of the day. I don't want leads, just leads. I want business, because then that is not quality lead. So it's really about owning and educating that those enrichments or those education are needed, while you cannot reveal the source of data that you have got, which is completely fine. You cannot share, uh, probably you cannot share the PII data, yes, acceptable. But what is this universe? What is the total size of this universe is a question. And out of that universe, am I, if out of 100 people, am I reaching to only 5, or am I eligible to reach to 80 more people? I don't know when I'm starting and having this conversation with affiliates. So yeah, I think that's my point on that. There is a need for the ecosystem partner to come out and take ownership of the channel.
Yeah, and actually, to this point, right, what Meghna has mentioned, I think it's a miss, or it's a problem because of both the marketing and the affiliates, right? Because we are celebrating the reach. We are celebrating reach of 2 crores, reach of 5 crore, reach of 80 lakhs, and all of that. Right? I think the day when both of these affiliates and the marketing, like the business, if they start celebrating the quality users, I think that's where I think the table will start, like it will start moving. Till that time, if we start talking about bigger numbers, reach, and everything, I think all the efforts will get into getting the bigger database, and obviously the quality will get poorer and poorer. So I think we'll have to make conscious efforts to identify that right metric that we want to focus on, and just focus on that for the next couple of years till the time I think the ecosystem reaches there. So that's what I feel.
Sure. I think it's a great point. One would always look for quality than the quantity.
Yeah.
So I think Saurabh, you, Satya, and Meghna all have brought up some very important points. I think one aspect was that how do you enhance the experience within the channel. The second aspect was that how do you brand it? So how do you basically give that great look and feel? Third aspect was how do you build customization. Now, I want to basically take a minute to bring some of the ecosystem shifts that's happening. So the SMS, so to say, is now getting evolved into RCS, which is sort of rich media SMS, which means that very soon you may be able to customize the DM like the way you do it in WhatsApp. You could have your brand logo. You could have the entire description. So today your center ID is restricted to 6 character. You could have the entire link, the Kotak Mahindra Bank, something like that. You could have your GIFs, your PDFs, your rich media content, your short videos as a part of the messaging, which will come and land in the SMS inbox. So that's one thing that's shifting. As an extension to that, you would also see OEMs coming. So, I mean, we talked about who owns the space. Okay, and right now, in my mind, I think this is getting distributed. So, messaging as a space will get distributed to multiple stakeholders trying to claim the stake. Operators and Google RCS being one. The OEMs are the ones who are also opening up their audience space with APIs, which means very soon you as a brand would be able to basically reach out the audiences within a Xiaomi, within a Samsung, within a Vivo, based on the age of the device, the operating system, the value of the device, maybe 30,000 upwards, something like that. Because that caters to the reach versus the quality of reach. Okay. The third aspect is the emails, which I think Meghna you very rightly touched about. That you could basically have those interactive messaging, your countdown based messaging, HTML countdown messaging. I think this AMP, the Google coming up with AMP, will actually build interactivity within emails. So today one would before I actually complete this, fourth point is the WhatsApp. So your OTT players, not just being a messaging platform, but a conversational platform. So what I'm actually touching about is that the entire dynamics of messaging, which was thus so far was used to just basically broadcast messages, will evolve to interactivity, which means that they will not be just enabler. So today, you did mention that, sorry, you did mention that SMS will have a link and it will take to some destination. So it's sort of being looked upon as an enabler. Uh, what what the changes that's happening in the tech stack will do is actually make each of this messaging from just pure messenger or enabler to an ecosystem by itself, which means that you can land to a WhatsApp, you can basically get into this chat, you could select the product categories, choose, you could put it in the card, do the payment, and you're done. The same thing will happen within the email. You get to the email, you like the proposition, you click on it, you put in your information. You're not getting out of the inbox. Okay, so what happens is when you basically bring great experience within the messaging platform, uh, top with the right segments. So you also then layer it with cohorts, segments, audiences that you want to do, where this will revolutionize the way the messaging platforms are going to be used. Now, with all of this coming, I want to basically ask you, Megha, as a marketer, this will bring back the same charm that today a display will have, some of the other digital channels will have. You will get the same charm back to the messaging platform. How would you leverage it?
Okay. So Girish, definitely, um, it definitely always had the charm because it's, of course, the cheaper medium. I'll not call it cheaper, but the more cost effective. It has always been. But yeah, I think one point is that the whole data enrichment will bring more trust for marketers. Second, more enablers like creative formats, more way of communicating and messaging brings another edge for marketers also to experiment with the platform and identify what is working and what is not. Is it the simple text that is working, or is it the actual um, synthesized, let's say, a video or an info card that's working, right? Uh, Third thing, that's again because you spoke of OEM, is within the OEM there are plethora of options that it opens up. Whether it's your lock screen, whether it's your calendar screen, whether it's your push notification banner, whether it's your first screen on the Android, right? So I actually have an Android device which I keep toggling for testing few things. And what I have noticed is that even the keyboard of the Android phone has a option for you to brand it. So I saw Paytm branding it and utilizing that position very well because everybody is going to type. So how are you leveraging the most influential position in different properties that it's going to open up is something that will define where your brand leads uh, in terms of the overall user influence, right? Of course, we have the Google Play Store and App Store, right? Native apps, native phones, but then the OEMs also have created their own app stores. So how are you going to leverage that? And that's not going to be openly available. At least as of now, it's not openly available, but it's only available through the OEM partners or OEM themselves. So yeah, I think that's exactly where the industry is gonna move. It also all this makes more sense because of the cookieless world that we are walking into. So if you are able to identify a partner and work together with the database which is their first party data, which is enriched and which has the right signals given, you might be able to create a great customer journey. And customer journeys, it will not happen overnight. You need to give it time. Maybe test one partner for at least 2 months, 3 months, because first month maybe one set of segment of audience didn't work. But for you to identify, is it because of your messaging? Is it because of your timing? Is it because you didn't choose the right channel? You need to do a test for at least 2 months to gather enough information that this channel works, this type of timing works, this type of formatting works. Otherwise, it's just one shot at the audience and gathering a conclusion that
Sure,
comes to it.
sure. I think quite
Yeah.
quite quite insightful. Satya, I want to have a straight question to you. Given the fact that now your emails will be interactive, your chatbot can basically do the complete journey within the platform. Would you put more dollar in the messaging platforms? Okay, because you'll have reduced bounces. You're not taking the customer out of this inbox ecosystem. Considering the fact that all of this will lead to better customer experience, allowing you to do sharper cohorts, would you look at putting more dollars to this messaging platforms?
Yes, Girish. See, even today, when I look at different agencies, even till today, 25 to 28% of the entire leads are generated through SMS. If a day comes when WhatsApp takes over for promotional SMS and accepting it, we might lose still over 5% of share, right? So with lot of limitation on WhatsApp for your promotional SMS, unless a user initiates a journey from his side, you cannot really promote it. Okay.
Got it.
So in terms of RCS, yes, that's a game changer for sure, but the adoption is gonna take time. We did for one of our brands where we did humongous volume of RCS because it was approved by the Google. So we touched 50 crore plus of messaging only for the brand. The CTR has been almost like three times than the regular SMS, which we experienced because we use carousel ads in it. We had images, we had 15-second video format also enabled. But if you look at the 130 in the 130 crore mobile population of India, you barely have 5-6 crore mobile devices which are enabled for RCS now. So unless you have a Google native messaging platform enabled, that's not going to happen, and will take time for them to completely move. For example, the app what I use on my phone is not the OEM. I use SMS Organizer by Microsoft, right? This shift will take some more time, but obviously, once messaging starts getting fruitful results, everything will get benefited, not just WhatsApp or RCS. SMS itself will
Sure.
get benefited.
Sure. Saurabh, your view on this? Will you put more dollars?
Yeah, I do. I think after like the WhatsApp has told us that the best interface or the easy to use interface is a chat interface, right? So I believe anything which will have a chat interface will be the future, and for everything, right? For your product, for your marketing. So yeah, I think any improvement here will take away some share from Google and Facebook to SMS marketing.
Sure. Great. Meghna, you brought up one more point, and I think you're surprising us by bringing new dimension to this conversation. I think about this point of a cookieless world, and with Google, blocking this cookie. I think the only identifier, so to say, would be emails and mobile, and a brand would have to be very cognizant of this reality that how do they catch hold of this two identifier? A device ID we know more identifier. So yeah, so a quick point to this because we have just 2 more minutes and then we'll leave 5 minutes for question answers.
Yeah, so Girish, I think because we are talking about affiliate partners, so this brings back to this is the whole circle of where we started, wherein we are talking about data enrichment and what is the source of this whole mobile number and email that you're capturing, right? Are they legit? Are they not legit? I think that's something that the affiliate partners will have to establish now, because in the absence of anything else, we will be depending on affiliate mode, till the time everything else is figured out, with how social is going to change, how Google is, of course, it's more or less figured out because it has an ecosystem of its own. But at least for affiliate, for email, SMS channels, how is this signal going to get passed on to to the marketer? From affiliate network, it's your first party data, so probably you ran an ad. The customer clicked on the ad and landed on the marketer's page. So how are you going to transfer this data to the marketer so that now the marketer can use this customer as its own first party audience and not a third party referred traffic, right? So that's something that has
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be figured out.
I think it's a big point and it needs a separate discussion. It will be unfair to basically bring this up in like a couple of minutes. Saurabh, your few words, wrapping words.
Uh, no, I think I'm good. That's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Satya,
No, I'm saying let's go to question and answers from the audience.
yeah. So we just have 5 more minutes, so we can open this up for Q&A.
in terms of gambling affiliate management, how would you approach contacting prospective websites as well as separating the good from the bad? Okay, so Mr. Slatter, not really sure about this because yes, we do have certain clients from Mali where we did certain campaigns here and there, but there's no still a stable regulatory framework against this, and we don't approach them. Rather, the websites from UK and Mali they approach us to do a promotion in India, which are a little skeptical at this point of time. We are very selective on whom we work on the gambling sites. And I think most of the questions come back to me. How comfortable brands are using SMS? Obviously, it's proven. Almost all the brands use it even today. Even Flipkart started to surprise after 2 months. The past 2 months, they started the SMS campaign again. They never did it the past so many years. They started again on the SMS campaign. Yes, the TRA is helping by the templates. They have each brand has about 50 to 100 templates for both transaction promotion already enlisted. However, you need to ensure that you reach out only to the opt-in audience and DND perspective, which should be intact. What typical open rate has promotional SMS? Yeah, change from industry from 1% to 22% is what we are seeing. To highest about gaming of 22% and less than 1% to about insurance, etc. It's pretty vast. So you can go compared to about 8% open rate, what we generally see on SMS. What are the keywords you look for in email and a message or SMS? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, so I don't see too many questions coming in, so I'll quickly take 2 minutes to just do a recap of some of the important points that came in discussion. I think one of the biggest point is that we need somebody to own up this ecosystem. Be it Google coming with RCS or somebody coming in. I think that's extremely essential. Yeah. The second aspect is with the shift of RCS, AMP-based emails and chatbot. I think this market is up for grab. This will completely transform the way messaging is going to be looked at. So I think this were fundamentally the two important points. And third point, which is very valid, is that how do you leverage these messaging channels as a first-party identifier and connect the dots? Okay. Yeah. Is there a question that's coming? Yeah. So cool. Thanks. Thanks, Saurabh. Thanks, Meghna. Thanks, Satya.
One second, somebody is asking
Thank you so
why
much.
the question, Girish. 1 second. What is the question? By open it, you mean click no open it. There's no mechanism and there's no technology to say the open it in SMS still in India when we only talk about CTR. Open rates are more than 70%. We don't know. We cannot know whether the SMS is opened or not. We're talking about typical CTRs, click to rate. That's it, I think.
So, Satya, there's one question which is why CPA is not profitable from India. It's always in loss. I think that's the question
No,
there.
no, no. There are. It's not a loss. There are so many agencies, so many affiliates who made millions. CPA. I know one affiliate who bought Audi 7 now after 3 years of working affiliate. I still don't want one after running a company.
Yeah, so you're right, Meghna. I think there is a shift, So you will have space for everyone. You will have affiliates who only work on CPS and CPA.
Yeah.
And you will have affiliates who perhaps only work on CPA.
Yes.
So, so it all depends on, if you're actually looking for scale and top of the funnel, then you'll have to work with somebody else.
Yeah.
If you're looking at,
Performance.
scale, which is right at the bottom of the funnel, then you may not be able to get the scale that you desire to get.
Correct.
So you have to do the balancing of what are you looking at. Are you looking at scale or are you looking at basically acquisition and minimal stake?
Absolutely.
Or the best ROI.
Sure.
Right. Thank you, speakers and moderator, for a very exciting session. I think our delegates would have enjoyed in terms of the insights that were given in terms of the messaging industry and how it can be linked to the affiliate marketing. I would like to thank our partners, title partner V Commission, powered by partner Optimize, brought to you by partner Zahapads, in association with Trackia, registration partner Value Leaf, digital growth partner Microsoft and InMobi, gold partner Admitad, and Velco, silver partner Bidroid, mobile performance partner CollectSend Ads, bronze partner CashKaro.com, and platform partner AirMeet. Thank you, speakers. Thank you, moderator, for an exciting discussion. And delegates look forward to the upcoming sessions at IAS 2021. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.